Hey everyone, it's Cory from the Bradshaw Boys, and before we get started with the episode, we wanted to tell you about a few things. We are currently rewatching Sex and the City and putting out 2 episodes every week. One is going here on our main feed, and the other episode is on our Patreon feed. We want to get a massive rewatch going with all of you to get ready for the Sex and the City reboot, and just like that. So please join us by rewatching all of Sex and the City by listening here and then catching all the episodes on our Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Bradshaw Boys, it's just $5 a month. You get twice as many episodes as you do on the main feed, and you join us for the entire rewatch. I mean, what a crazy deal, right? It's super fun. We'll get all the episodes in before the reboot happens, and you get to catch everything and be there with us. The other thing is, if you follow us on our Instagram at the Bradshaw Boys, we just launched a face filter in stories called Who is Your Sex and the City Boyfriend? It'll tell you who your boyfriend is. You just point it at your face. It spins through a bunch of guys, and then look, your boyfriend is Steve. If you go to our Instagram, you can check it out on our profile, go to the filters, or look for it in the filter store, tag us, and then we'll repost you so the world can know who your boyfriend is. All right, enjoy the episode, everyone. Hey everyone, it's Cory from the Bradshaw Boys, and before we get into the episode, we wanted to tell you a few things. First of all, this episode, we recorded it a little while ago, and we recorded it before COVID, before the pandemic that we are all in right now. So take into account that we recorded this in a time that was a little less stressful for you, our listeners, I'm sure, a little less stressful than where we all are in quarantine now. And know that we're all going to get back there at some point, and we hope that us being in a less stressful place, watching an episode of Sex and the City, having fun is something that brings a little bit of levity to you. It definitely did to us when we did it. So thank you for listening. The other thing is that we have a huge episode coming up next week. We talked about it. Next week, we have our season 5 finale episode, which is the interview with Kristen Davis. That's coming out next week. So the Kristen Davis episode is so good. She talks for a long time, and it's going to be great. So that's coming out next week. I know we said the Kristen Davis episode would be coming this week. Our schedule got a little shifted because we had the I Heart New York Medical Workers episode happen last week. That was an impromptu thing that just happened, and it switched up the schedule, but we think it was a worthy way to switch up the schedule. What a fun, special episode to do, and to hear all the cast come together. So we promise the Kay Davis one is coming out next week, and we'll be back on schedule after we watch the last episode, which you're about to hear now. And then the other thing is we would love some podcast reviews. If you are a listener and you've reviewed, thank you so much for reviewing. We really appreciate it. We have about 315 reviews right now, 5-star reviews, and we are trying so hard to get to 1,000 reviews. That's our goal, but we would love to get more and more reviews. It's really important for us. It gets us to more people who don't know about the podcast. So if you like this podcast, if you listen to it, pause right now, go to the iTunes store, leave us a 5-star review, and tell us something you like about the podcast, one of your favorite minor characters on the show, anything like that, and we'll read some reviews on the air. Go do that. We really appreciate it. It actually really helps if you leave us a review. So thanks so much. With all that said, we hope you are doing well. We hope you're staying safe, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
You're now listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where 3 relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where 3 guys watch their way through Sex and the City for the first time ever, mostly. Another special episode. I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin James Doyle.
My name is John Sieber.
And I'm Katie Sieber.
Oh, hey, and I'm Jeremy Balon.
And it's a family episode.
What's up?
We got the whole family.
We got the whole family in this room.
this is different than just the boys episode because there's a lot more that goes into this.
It's a JTF.
Than just us talking.
It's JTF.
It's just the fam.
Just the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, just the fam.
Yeah.
This is a big iconic day.
Yeah.
We're watching the season 5 finale.
Yeah.
And I feel like we couldn't have a better day than today.
Yeah.
We get to watch. Well, Katie, you've seen season 5 finale.
Oh, I've been excited all week.
Really?
to
Oh,
rewatch
really?
this episode.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Because then there's been a lot of season 5 hate, but as we've watched it, we've been like, this is really good.
It's
and I feel
amazing.
like it's ramping up to a solid finale.
It's a great palate cleanser for the final season. Like, I feel like you just have so much action in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great stuff in season 5, but it's like setting you up for 6.
I'm ready.
Can't wait.
I'm way behind, so I stayed with you guys for that first 2 seasons ish, and then I'm just completely way behind. But I listen to them when I edit them. But
You're experiencing the show.
it's like a
through
weird
producing the show.
Yeah,
So you're
it's a
getting
weird
you're getting
yeah, it's weird.
It's pretty weird that basically your Sex in the City experience is just us talking about
Yes.
our experience. So
Yes.
you're probably getting a much different version.
Initially, it was different, but yes, now
Yeah.
it's that.
Jimmy,
But yeah.
we have to tell you, we've had people reach out to us and say, out of everyone's voices in the show, yours is their favorite.
Yeah.
I got that radio voice. Well, thank you. That's very nice. I would disagree. I think Kristen Davis's voice is probably the best of the bunch.
It's a good one.
But yeah, anyway. Oh, before we get going on the episode, I'm sorry to interrupt and take over this podcast. I'm not trying to, but
No.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Aww.
It's Christmas time. There
my
you go.
God.
You guys
Christmas
get to
in the spring.
You get to pick blue or gray.
Oh my gosh.
Jeremy's handing us out Seltzer
Thank you.
King's
And I-
beanies.
Also, got you guys the Girls Just Want to Have Fun DVD. Have you watched this? Have you done a?
No.
No.
Okay, well, this is going to be another
A
one.
bonus
of your,
episode. Girls just
Yeah.
want to have fun.
Is that the Cyndi Lauper movie?
Helen Hunt,
I don't think it. I think it's just a name.
It's just a name,
Yeah.
okay.
Sharon Doherty, and Sarah Jessica Parker.
Although,
Oh.
right now we should do an over under on if that song is in that movie because
Ooh, have you ever seen
theoretically,
it?
I've actually not seen it.
Ooh,
there
let's
you
Okay,
go.
we have to do a movie
might be
club
a
up
might
for
be
that
a
one.
family movie. There.
Wait, can I give the down low on the back?
Let's do it.
Give us the
Janie,
download.
Sarah Jessica Parker, is a shy good girl. Lynn, Helen Hunt, is a cool rock chick, still is. But when 2 friends scheme to Janie on television's biggest after-school dance show, they find themselves on a wild adventure filled with cute boys, like us, hot dancing, like us, prudish nuns, like us, mean rich kids, parents just don't understand, and girls doing what they know best, just having fun. Wow, it's like a dance musical. Outrageous 80s fashion.
With Shannon Doherty and
Wow.
Helen Hunt. And
How have I not
SJP.
seen this?
Wow.
This
I
is
know.
going to be a great episode.
I can't wait for our movie club.
Well, happy holidays. It's a little late.
Thank you very
know.
much. It's only
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
It's still,
listen,
That's not bad.
The holidays are
Yeah.
when you make them.
That's right.
and you got us a lot more than we got you.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. That's true. That is very true.
That is very true.
So-
we're here to watch this. Do you want to
Let's
break
say
down like where we're at in season 5?
Yeah, we should break down where we're at in season 5. We should also, I want to start by saying this because I think it will be smart to say up top. Season 5 finale. We're going to watch it. We're going to break it down. Next week's episode, we just recorded, and it is a 1 hour long interview with Kristen Davis.
That's right.
We just talked to her
That's
about
right.
it, and it is unbelievable. It's the best episode we've ever done.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And we just want to ask you all to tune in next week because it's
Yeah.
our biggest episode. We're going to do everything we can to sit down with her, sit down with SJP, sit down with Cynthia and Kim Cattrall and Chris Noth and all that stuff. And we've now got to sit down with Ben Weber. We got to talk to Kristen Davis for that long. And so I just feel like now is a perfect time to say, if you haven't rated or reviewed, please go do it. Give us 5 stars and say what you feel. Like, we work really hard on this and we've seen our growth just get
Yeah.
bigger and bigger the past few months. And there's still so many people that I
Yeah.
think would enjoy it. So if you enjoyed it, tune into next week's episode and also give us a rating and a
Yeah.
review because that is just how more people find out about it. And then hopefully we can get more notoriety and then we can sit down with more of these people.
Totally.
So,
And
and
finally
we'll,
write the musical.
yes.
Yes.
And if you write a review, we'll read it on the air. But
Yes.
we hate giving you obligations, but we just want to say, wow, everyone's tuned into this.
And it's not like they're a real obligation. It's not like do Kevin's taxes.
Yeah.
That would be annoying.
Unless you're licensed to do that, in which case,
amazing.
please hit up the Instagram and we'll...
Let us know.
But
if you
yeah,
could do that.
we're coming off an incredible high of talking to Kristen Davis for an hour, and now we get to watch Sex and the City.
Yeah.
So
We just live the best life.
yeah,
This is pretty crazy.
Talking to Kay Davis, watching Sex and the City with the pals, drinking espresso martinis, I believe.
Oh, spoiler alert. I think we're going to have a little celebratory espresso martini, ladies and gents.
goodness.
When you're home, I'll share the recipe because it's one of my favorites.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's share the recipe. That's great.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for that.
So Balon, to catch you up with where we're at, basically, Charlotte just met Harry Goldenblatt, who she's the divorce lawyer for Trey.
Okay.
And they have like this weird, like he like has like cream cheese on his face, and he's like, oh my god, like he's kind of just like a
eating
sweaty
a bagel at the time. He doesn't just always have cream cheese on his face. That's not his deal.
That was
Yeah.
in the he always has cream
I
cheese
feel like
on
you got to
his
preface it with he was eating a bagel.
and even if
That's how he was cast, and then the
It was,
the name was too long. Yeah.
It's a very odd birthmark. It's a cream cheese face birthmark.
but he's a little slovenly.
What if it's just like a zit that just oozes cream cheese?
Oh,
They
yeah.
always have
Yeah.
cream cheese. Did I ruin your podcast? By
No,
saying
no,
that?
no.
'Cause this is
Well,
how I
there is an
talk on
SJP.
mine.
There is an SJP pimple episode around
yeah.
that. So there's a big tip when
Yeah,
they go
you
across.
missed that, yeah.
But anyway, she meets Harry Goldenblatt. That's where we're at.
Which I feel like something big is going to happen with that because it's season finale and they just slept together for the first time.
Yeah.
And Charlotte was just like, "We're just fucking. This
Yes.
is like no more than
She
that."
talked to Anthony
Mario Cantone.
Cantone's
Mario
character,
Cantone's
yeah.
character about saying, I want to keep this, like, I don't want a relationship with this. And you can tell she's like fighting hard to not have it be a relationship. And
When
he's
was the
like,
last time
okay.
you had sex? 10:30 this morning. I want that guy's life.
Yeah.
And then SJP, she's kind of just in breakup land.
Yeah.
She has her book came out. Her
Yeah,
book
she's
came
in
out.
her book. She's
wrote a book.
Sex in the City.
Yeah. Yeah, she's doing the book tour. She just she took a train to San Francisco with Samantha, took a train across the country, and Samantha got them first class flights back to New York.
Oh.
But she went and did her book reading out there, was upstaged by a famous internet dog.
It wasn't Marnie. Rest in peace, Marnie.
It wasn't
died yesterday, but
it wasn't Marnie, the
no.
internet dog.
This is way
It's no longer
prior.
with us.
Yes.
Yeah, this like predated that craze.
Yeah.
So that's where she's at.
But pretty prolific.
Marnie?
No, in the sense that like Kevin was saying that
Yeah.
internet dogs would become a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cats first, then dogs.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
So you might not know this then that Amy Sedaris and Molly Shannon play her book agents.
Oh my
So
God,
they've
I didn't know.
They've
Yeah.
made a lot of appearances, and they got her the interview with after the book dog.
Dude, if we got Sedaris on the
Interesting.
show,
We
I
were
would-
gonna get
gosh.
Sedaris.
I don't know
on
what
the
I'd
show.
do. She's like such a force of nature. I
Yeah.
did listen to just an interview with her, and I was like, this person can't help but be
Yeah.
compelling
Yeah.
and funny.
Incredible.
Just how she is.
And
Yeah.
good for Sex in the City to have two powerhouse comedians on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, a whole show of just their characters would be amazing.
And as far as Miranda, she's the main story with her has been motherhood. Her and Steve had a baby. What's his name?
Brady.
Brady.
Brady the baby.
Brady.
Brady Hobbs, right?
Yeah. Yes, Brady Hobbs.
Brady Hobbs.
And she's been dealing with that and the stresses of being a mother and not being out with her friends as much. And then Samantha, just recently, I mean, in the beginning of the
She
season,
left Richard.
and she's single. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're leading
Richard
into.
was the full-time.
the hotel magnate
Okay.
who she was with in season 4, who she also did PR for.
I feel like the last time I saw anything about her, she was settling down. So that's a
Yeah.
departure from what happened. That must have been season 4. So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he cheated on her. He was munching on some,
Oh boy.
and she walked in.
Yikes.
And he had to, and then she basically, you thought maybe he would cheat again, but she was actually just so paranoid that he would cheat again. Like she found himself, like she like ran in, he was just doing work, and then she had to leave him because she's like, because you cheated on me, it's driving me nuts now. So she had to call it. So it was actually
Is
one
that
of
the
the more,
I love you?
I love
love
you
me
more,
more.
but I love me
Myself.
more.
Yeah, I love you, but I love myself more.
Yeah.
Good.
yeah.
Good.
I
There
love
were
me more.
some memorable lines in
Yeah.
season 5. Ugly sex is hot.
Yeah.
Is that one of them?
Yep.
That was
Is that
Mario
did I
Cantone
get
said
it correct?
I believe you did. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like
That
we
one.
should do the Bradshaw Boys T-shirt exchange and just have a lot of these. We'll make our own shirts and put some of those amazing
Yeah.
slogos on.
Yeah.
Slogos?
Slogos.
I think you just coined
It's
a new phrase.
slogan.
Yeah.
Slogos.
Slogos.
I'd like one of just Kevin's face of him going
No.
That's the little has the click.
the click.
It would it would be the click, but I would just be thinking,
I'd say my mama's pretty hot.
I need to have sex tonight.
that,
All right.
that I understand.
Yeah, so
I think that's a pretty good catch up.
we'll do that, and then we'll break it down, and then I don't know. I mean, I know it's split in two, but then it's like we're
You guys are nearing the end.
how many
amazing.
episodes are in season 6?
There's a lot. There are
20 episodes.
Okay.
Okay, that's enough.
20
but
eps.
still, it's just like, and it's like it's like camp is 2 weeks long, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's only a week left of camp. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's like,
You're
we're
rounding
nearing
round in the corner there.
I know.
we're-
We don't want to
we're-
think about it.
I
Yeah.
said this in one of our first episodes, but when we started it, I remember it was before I watched The Wire, and my friend told me, he was like, I wish I could like grab you by the shirt like you were a freshman going into college and didn't know what they were about to experience, and be like, you have no idea the journey you're about to go on, and so you have to savor it even though you don't know how to.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're seniors now.
Yeah.
We were freshmen when we started this show. Now
You
we're,
guys are. Yeah. I'm still a sophomore. But
You're still a sophomore. Well,
Whatever.
you went away to another school for a little bit. Now you're back. So
You got
catching
mono
up.
and had to sit
Exactly,
out of school
exactly.
for a little bit.
Katie's like a
Katie's like the principal.
master.
Katie's-
What do you have? Like a double master in
She's the school
sexology?
marm.
I have a PhD in
Katie's
Sex and the City.
she's
Katie's
the one
the-
that skipped out on senior. It was like, where's Katie all the time? They're like,
went
oh,
ahead
she's
to
taking
college.
college classes.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
taking AP courses.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's like a,
Yeah, I liked that you were looking at me to the recap. And I was like, I haven't been watching it with you.
Yeah, but you know it better than all of us.
Maybe I do.
I will say we have a listener on Instagram that messaged in and said, hey, I just found the podcast and I haven't rewatched the show, and I'd never watched the show before. And so she's like, I listen to your podcast. I go away. I watch the
Yeah.
episodes, and then I come back and listen to it. And I was
That's
like,
incredible.
you have to be one of the only people that's doing it as it's meant
I
to be
love it.
consumed.
Yeah.
We're like Martin Scorsese being like, you can't watch Irishman on your phone. She's the one that's like, all right, I'm in theaters.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm doing it as you wish.
I got my home theater to do a 70 millimeter print of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching it. Yeah.
And let's go watch it. But I want to say we're so like, we did it. We're so like, all 5 of us are here.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years later, we're just like,
look at that.
we're doing so great.
Hey, things have changed. We're all in different houses now. We each got a couple kids, but we made it this far. It's
been
this far.
2
Things have really changed.
What, 2 years? It's been 2 years, I think.
It's about 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were very little charades in this game we're playing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to give you a good segue there.
That's a
Cole.
great
Ooh.
segue.
I love a charade.
I love a charade.
Wow.
Season 5, episode 8. I love a charade. I can't wait to see what happens.
Michael Patrick King wrote it. He's landing the plane. This aired September 8th, 2002.
That was 2 days before my birthday in 2002.
There were 7.33 million viewers to this finale.
Jeez.
Wow.
Hey, can you scroll down to what was the series finale? What's the numbers for the series finale?
10.2.
10.
Wow.
10.6 million.
10.6.
Wow. An American and Girl in Paris. Holy
But if you
shit.
add them both, it's 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that's
wow.
just basic math, guys.
That's just simple math.
That right there. All right.
All
Well,
right. Well, here we go.
Love you guys. We'll be back.
we'll be back.
With martinis.
Episode 74. I love a charade. The girls attend the Hamptons wedding of an over-the-hill socialite and a lounge singer whom they all thought was gay. Carrie encounters Jack Berger again. Charlotte goes public with her relationship with Harry. Miranda gets more comfortable with the baby and with her role as a mother. Samantha throws a huge party at Richard Wright's Hamptons house. And now, back to the boys.
And we're back.
Butterflies.
Butterflies. Butterfly
Lilac.
kisses.
Zazazoo.
Zazazoo.
And Zaza. Ew.
You guys remember the song Butterfly Kisses?
Oh,
Yeah.
do I? Yeah.
Butterfly kisses in her daddy's hand. What, it's about her dancing with her dad or something like that?
Yeah.
I think it's noontime prayer,
Is that what it is?
midnight prayer. That doesn't.
What are you
Butterfly
guys talking
kisses.
about?
Butterfly kisses.
It's something
It's the
about
way
a prayer.
it's the way the dad would kiss his daughter. He would do eyelash. It's about his little girl growing up.
Yeah. Oh, after butterfly kisses after bedtime prayer.
Okay, I knew there was a prayer in there.
you got
But
it.
midnight
you
prayer
go.
seems a bit strange.
That's so weird. They wrote an entire Sex and the City episode based on that song.
It's really crazy. Yeah. Okay.
There's
So
that one verse that's like, throwing those cantaloupes through the fucking window. When Richard gets here, he's gonna say, "Where's that bimbo?"
Oh.
Oh, what's going on?
Someone else. It was like we listen to
It
our
was
own
your
thing all the
music.
time. We're like, oh my gosh, wait, is that my favorite podcast? I will say in the background.
Should we start over or just keep going?
I can stitch or whatever.
I say
Whatever
we
you guys
keep
wanna
it.
do.
Let's
Yeah.
just keep it.
Behind the scenes, it's end of season 5. We're riffing, we're having fun.
This is how the Sex and the City sausage is made.
You know what? Podden is a lot like Harry's back.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hairy, sometimes it's
And
wax,
sometimes-
sometimes it's bloody. Like
Sometimes you have an allergic reaction.
this is just it. It's just this is behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, okay.
Sorry, we're so real. Sorry, we're so with our listeners. We have a relationship with you. This is when we get on the mic. We're here to talk about the real stuff.
Yeah.
Like fake tits. Let's get into it. Did those girls? No, I'm kidding.
That's like the oldest joke in the book, right? Too, with the two
The
two
cantaloupes,
cantaloupes,
yeah.
and like I thought for sure it was like this is not going
But
anywhere.
then
yeah,
I love that she threw it.
Jumping
like I
ahead,
love that they were like, oh, people in glass houses. Like,
yeah.
you just-
Yeah.
Shouldn't throw
man,
candles.
those writers.
yeah.
John,
Hey, what's up?
John, take us through the recap so we can hit all these notes.
All right. Let's see here. So I need some help with the through line of this episode. I think she said without saying I do is a relationship without the Zaza Zoo.
Yeah.
So what do you all think she means when she's talking about Zaza Zoo? Is
Spark.
it the spark?
Yeah,
She's
it's that
talking
thing.
about the spark. This
The
is
thing.
I feel like a great longer conversation we need to have. But
Okay.
for now, the Zaza Zoo, it's the
Spark.
the je ne sais quoi, the spark, the
Okay.
the
So
butterflies.
The drip. Oh no, it's not drip, right? Drip
not
is
the
different. Drip is
What's
different.
the drip?
Drip is like
Drip is style.
yeah, style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
different.
I guess this relationship
never
would,
heard that.
would be
Wrong
about
millennium.
the spark in a relationship and
Right.
how all the different characters are having their own spark in some way or reaction to the spark.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, of course, is excited about Berger. Berger's back in the picture, although really horrible at riding a
Yeah,
motorcycle.
he's the worst at riding a
I'll
motorcycle.
tell you what, there's no way he got his motorcycle out on the Long Island Expressway all the way to the Hamptons and still doesn't know how to ride it all.
That
I
whole
don't-
thing is
I don't buy it.
baffling. Yeah.
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 Charlotte is mid relationship with Harry, and at the very end finds out that he is Jewish and will only marry a Jewish woman.
I think that. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. But like that, you're going to pitch that then?
I mean, that's your-
right.
You're
Yeah.
going to say that then? Like you've had so much
It's
other
interesting.
time. Like
Yeah,
that's not the time to do it.
Miranda slept with Steve because he brought over lilacs, and she's kind of figuring out what the gray area is with Steve and their relationship. And lastly, Samantha is still recovering from Richard. She borrowed his house, but then still got insanely jealous when a bunch of underage girls with plastic surgery enhancements showed up to the house.
And I would say not underage. I would say younger
Sorry,
women.
not underage.
They were not.
Definitely
They
not
weren't
underage.
14-year-olds.
They
Sex
were,
and the City had a candid portrayal of 14-year-olds in
I'm so
bikinis.
sorry.
Yeah.
Not underage,
No,
but
no, no,
younger
no, no, no.
than
Yes.
younger than
Younger than
Younger
everyone
than
else.
like
Samantha.
Yeah.
And
Women
that's
of a,
that.
Women
That's,
of a younger certain
That's the
age.
charade.
That's the charade.
That's a charade.
And I guess the whole episode was framed within this relationship, this wedding that they were going to in the Hamptons. One of Carrie's friends, played by
Nathan Lane.
Bobby Fine.
who they all assumed was homosexual, was then getting married with to a woman, and they were discussing the charade of that relationship.
Yeah.
Is it a real relationship? It doesn't matter if it's a real relationship as long as they're happy and they've kind of decided. So,
And then ultimately, what is a real relationship?
what is a relationship?
You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
So there we go. Where do you want to start?
let's start with. I think it'd be good to start with Sarah Jessica and Berger because I thought there was going to be way more there, and I think there's way less there, and I think we can start off with that and then move to other things.
Well, starting with that,
That's my opinion.
if we start with that, define what you mean by I thought there was going to be way more there and there's way less there. How do you mean?
Berger, I guess will become way more of a season 6 character.
Okay.
Well, I think it had to. They had to show us that this isn't an easy relationship for them to be starting. Like clearly, he's coming to it with a lot of baggage. Like she's coming to it with a lot of baggage. And I kind of loved what she said. When you're getting older and you're breaking up with people, like nothing is black and white. Like
that scene.
And I think that's so true when you're in your late 20s or 30s and you break up with someone. It's never because they're terrible, or it's just there's always something. Maybe you don't have the Zazazoo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he was just upset that she was sitting on his motorcycle jacket.
All of a sudden he noticed.
Yeah.
He was like,
He was
get
like,
up.
hey,
Get the fuck
Had
off
nothing
my
to do with her
jacket.
or the relationship.
Do you guys classify your? I'm switching a little bit, but are you classifying your? Do you have that Zazazoo? Did you have it when you guys met? Because you're the only married couple in the house right now.
That's
so.
right.
I think yes.
Yeah, totally.
Ooh,
And I
man,
think
really to put you both on the spot.
No,
What if one of you was
What
like,
if we
No, I
said
want
no?
to. This is where we figure this out.
good job, Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, I think like chemistry is a really interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like on our first date, like we just immediately had so much to talk about and had a lot of chemistry. And it is just really interesting too when you go on a date with someone that you're like, you're really awesome, and on paper I should really like you,
right.
and then all of a sudden it's just so hard until it's not. I don't know. It's interesting.
But I also think this is my own thoughts on relationships. Like she's also my best friend. And I think like the funniest person I know, the most interesting person I know.
Right.
So it's more than just this physical attraction. It's just like a companionship. She's just like
Another half, yeah. That's,
like
and
a
that's
really,
that's the aim,
great
right? Yeah.
pal
Yeah.
to
You're
adventure with and be with, you know?
Whenever you guys talk about your relationship, it's like emotional porn for me. I'm like, oh, that's fucking
funny.
I just get so like I get so emotionally horny for your relationship.
You're very
it's-
lucky.
Dude, we'll give you a call and put you on speakerphone when we're deciding whose families to spend holidays with.
I think that we don't have
You're gonna be
arguments.
like, oh great,
Oh,
never
yeah.
mind,
Each other.
never mind.
That's funny. I do, but I think what you're describing is, which is interesting, is the Zazazoo, as Carrie coined it, where you're like, yeah, it's not just like, it's not just a physical attraction thing. There is a, like I said earlier, a je ne sais quoi of a thing where you're like, there's another element of this. There's a friendship element. There's a teammate element, and that, we can just get into the discussion now. But like, are you guys going to stay together? Just kidding. No, but like the thing that what Carrie was saying of the Zazazoo is that's a thing that we've talked a lot before about relationships, John, where it's like, is it intellectual? Is it a decision to say, I'm going to stay here in this relationship and that's what makes it work? I always talk with a friend about the lightning bolt, where there's a thing where it's like, oh, there was like a lightning bolt with this person where I was like, this is the one. And we've talked about like whether that exists or not. And what is the Zazazoo? Is it only a person to person thing? Like,
I think you can have Zazazoo with a lot of different people. And I think it'll be interesting as the show progresses to think about like, is necessarily, I also think great relationships start that don't have the Zazazoo right off the bat.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
Like,
It's like sometimes that's just absent, and like you still 10 years later you look down the line and like, oh, we're still dating, we're still going well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in all sorts that feel like, oh my god, this is it. This is I'm gonna marry this young lady, this gal, as I say. And then other ones where it's like we have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Kind of worked, but
yeah.
I'm in a different place now. But yeah.
I think sometimes people can put too much stock into that, like
Totally.
almost like love at
Right.
first sight. Like I definitely think you can connect with someone quickly, but I also think it can take a couple dates to connect with someone too, and you
Yes.
can't put too much stock
Right.
into that first initial moment.
I want to ask you, the two of you, a question, since Jeremy has said that you're the only married couple in the house. But like, how much do you? And I guess this is for everyone. How much do you think timing adds into that in relationships with people's lives?
Everything.
Yeah, because you even look at Miranda now, and you know her having this baby with Steve, being like, I don't really want this with Steve, but you can tell that when they lay down in the bed together, there's something there with the two of them. And then you think of the speech that Carrie had to Berger, where she was just talking about you get older and it's harder to end these relationships. That sort of shows that her timing is changing a little bit too. And I think like once you go, but then some people, like maybe yourselves or other people, you know, their timing works out to where earlier, like in their 20s or something. I mean, you guys weren't in your early 20s when you met, but I think timing seems like a huge issue with people.
Totally. I was completely shut down at the possibility of relationships. Like 10 years prior to meeting Katie. And I think that if I would have been receptive to like being in a relationship, like prior to that, I very well could have found someone else and met them and been happy with them. And like, cause I don't necessarily believe like everyone's predestined to have one person.
Yeah.
I think like that's taking a lot of choice away from.
You think everyone has two soulmates?
Yeah, of course.
Very strict too.
Yeah.
There's a very strict.
Katie and
number
you,
2.
Kevin.
Oh, there you go.
No, but I think that takes away like the fact that you have to wake up every single day and you can choose to love this person and serve this person and be the best to this person. And if you just say like, oh, we were predestined to meet and we were predestined to fall in love, it takes a lot of the work away from a relationship, and I think diminishes it. So
I agree with you. I also think that sometimes, and this is an outside observer of you, John in particular, that sometimes like it's almost not totally up to you what you believe about relationships, because you could be like, it was just timing and Katie and I had a great first date and then we chose, but it's almost like up to the observer to be like, no, there is like actually a little bit, it was a little timing, it was a little choice of magic that as observers of the world, you don't always see relationships that happen like that. So you could be like very logical about it, but there is like a little magic. And that's what I feel like this episode was about, is looking at other relationships, not the people in them, but looking around and being like, those people have something that I've never experienced before. What is it? And it's almost like, it was cool having like Nathan Lane's response, because he's like, I know what everyone looks and sees. Like it's, you know, just so you know, it's fine. And I think there's something that you and Katie have that is like, oh man, I've never been on a date and had that same first, like I've heard you guys' first date story, you know, and how you guys met. And there is something to that is so intriguing to outsiders.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, you can't force it. You can't make it happen. You didn't necessarily both do anything to be like, this is going to be the best date ever.
Yeah. And I'm intrigued too.
And then you do choose each other and you do like put in the work. But yeah, you know, when you got that Zaza Zoo, you got this Zaza Zoo.
Hope it doesn't turn into Zaza Ew.
Yeah. What if it turns into Zaza Jew and you guys bring Shmuel in as a third?
That's right.
Oh, there you go.
You know what? We might want to spice it up.
I'm open for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't he make hairbrushes, or is he an artist?
He was an artist.
He's an artist.
But he makes hairbrushes on the side too.
There was
he makes
someone else
He's
that
a
made
craftsman.
hairbrushes. I know.
So you think that Berger and Carrie are doing the responsible thing and like airing their baggage out in the front?
Well, I don't know. I was actually thinking about it while I was watching the episode, because she like said that kind of thing where she was like, oh, I messed up. I was emotionally slutty, which I think like everybody thinks there's these rules. And I think that there's not. Like, you might find yourself in a position where it is good to be super upfront and you just start talking about things like that. Like, there's just no set standard of when to mention these things.
Yeah, because if he reacts by being like, thank you for sharing that, then you'd be like, I did the right thing.
Yes. Well, that's like, Katie, I think you and I've talked about this off mic, but like in other relationships, I've done things differently at different
And I recorded
times.
this without you guys knowing, and it's on the Patreon.
So here we go. Just log into our Patreon, hear a 45-minute episode of me weeping
It's
over
just
the
a
phone
secret
with Katie.
voice memo that from my iPhone.
And for $10, you can watch Cory change.
That's patreon.com/the Bradshaw Boys.
Bradshaw Boys. Tune in for all the Patreon episodes of how I grow emotionally. But in different relationships, like I've done things differently with like different people, meaning like, oh, and you know, I like, you go on a date and then you are like, oh, I took this risk with this person. But then also that is timing of just being like, oh,
Yes.
I'm reacting this way to this person. I'm going to take a risk and tell them this. And that is, which I guess you see that over the course of the show too, of them being in different places with a different history now that they've gone along in time and risk things with different people. And I guess that's just how you time out to other people and where you are in your lives.
Sure. I think it's never wrong to go with your gut,
Yeah.
you know, on something
Which that
like
seems
that.
like a Zazazu thing too. It's
Yeah.
kind of your gut of like what you're
Isn't
telling
that
you.
where the Zazazu lives?
Oh, it
It
has
lives in
to.
your gut.
But it all
lives in your gut.
It also goes back to last episode with Harry and Charlotte. If she would have just been like, "You're my lawyer," like, and then just left, he'd be like, "Fuck, I did the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I put it all out there." It's like, well, that's what putting it all out there. in being yourself is like there is no wrong way to do that.
Yeah.
Well, right, because if it doesn't work out, then it isn't the right thing.
I know.
I don't know.
It's just difficult because then you do replay. You're like, I've been on a few first dates that you're like, oh, maybe I was a little too myself, and then you're like, and you replay it, but you're like, well, whatever. What are you gonna do?
I mean, I think that some of that comes down to the timing thing, and I also think there's a thing of like,
sorry, myself is just someone who likes to fart at the table and keep on telling her and saying, you did that?
And Kevin, I will say that you are constantly yourself with me and John.
Yeah.
You're always doing that.
I just kept on.
No, but I think that like being to yourself is a funny thing to say because you're like, oh no. I mean, there is a little bit of like on a first date, especially like in internet dating age when you've never met the person before, there's a thing where you're like, I don't want to like unload everything now.
Yeah.
That's like almost common courtesy, I guess, or I don't know. But I do think like Harry, his character is interesting because I don't know if he would have been like, I was too much myself. I think he'd just be like, I don't know how else to be.
Yeah,
I just told her,
Yeah.
this is
yeah,
what I
I
am.
respect that he went for it.
And I also feel like what's interesting is like at the end when he goes up to her and like asks her to dance, and I think he says like, you don't want to shave my eyebrows, but he was like, listen, he said something about like, if I'm a horrible dancer or whatever, like there's nothing, he has some sort of confidence where like, there's nothing that I'm going to do that I'm going to show you who I am the whole time. So you might as well come and dance with me. And I feel like that level of confidence probably draws Charlotte like in.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
sexy.
It's totally attractive. And it's like just from a great story angle, it's so unexpected for Charlotte. It's not anything she would ask for, and yet it's speaking to her heart rather than to her head.
Speaking of someone's heart, how does it feel, Kevin, to watch a bald man be charming like that?
Yeah.
I mean, don't think I already have the side by side on the Instagram posts
Of you.
Oh yeah. Just,
Kevin.
and she'll see it. And she, I know what she wants.
She'll know.
When she said, we're like, how are you, Kristen, how are you like Charlotte and how are you not? She's like, well, I was never interested in getting married, but I am like Charlotte in that all I want to do is be with a bald man. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
crazy. And then I could hear her wink over the phone
And you
line.
just went, why are you clicking?
No, I do like sometimes I forget that I'm bald until like someone points it out because I'm fine with it. But that was actually a big being myself type thing. I always drove me nuts for a while, and then there's at one point where I was like, you know what? I'm just buzzing my head to like get it over with, and there was like a confidence shift that I had to have at a certain point. That kind of reminds me of him. That it's like, and I don't think there's as many girls even in the past 20 years. I feel like maybe people are a little less like, oh my gosh, he's bald. I feel like there's less television bald criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've moved on. We've moved on to other less,
yeah,
yes,
we
have way more important things to worry about. Yeah.
But I do think it is just like, it's always a tried and true rule that it's like, you can't help who you are. People are going to accept you or not. But the hottest thing you can do and the most attractive thing you can do is just be whoever you are. You're like,
Yeah.
I think you run a risk with that. And here's why. You can tumble into this Ayn Randian idealism of like Howard Rourke, like
the Fountainhead.
like where someone can just become an asshole and they're just like, no.
That's not confidence.
Well,
I'm saying true confidence, true settled confidence, not overconfidence is just like or arrogance or something. Like real, I guess like instead of confidence, it's like grounding in who you are.
Yeah, I feel like that would be overconfidence or bravado. But I think that's why I thought it was funny when you were saying, oh, I was too much myself. Because I think true confidence is like, you can't be too much yourself. You just are who you are.
And I agree, but I think that that's just a line that could easily be crossed with someone who's very confident in them and who they are, to say like, I know what's best. I know I'm right. I have this idea and it is the correct path.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you kind of get in that lane, I think it's a slippery slope of being overconfident, as we want to call it. And that's, I think, damaging.
I disagree when it comes to your body, because it's one thing if you're just like, if you're basing yourself on success, whatever, like if you're saying that you're like, I'm confident because I make a lot of money or whatever. But like, especially from a female perspective, and how people say like how your body should be. Like there's at a certain point you can't help how you are. You can get hair plugs or you can get liposuction.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the body. I agree with you. People should be confident and comfortable.
Are you talking about? You're talking about personality and
Talking
action.
about, like, personality,
Not personality, but I
action
guess
and,
how
like-
you're presenting
Yeah,
yourself.
and I don't
Yes.
think that's what you're saying. I'm saying specifically with Harry and Charlotte, and that sort of like he's attractive not because has bravado or not because he's like overconfident, because he's himself. Which even if you asked him, he probably wouldn't be like, I'm not confident, I'm crazy. But it's like, but you are, and we are refreshed watching it by being someone that's like, you're just yourself, dude, and you're fine with that. And if Charlotte rejected him, he would be fine with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Where I was like, I don't feel like he would be like, oh, I was too much myself. I think he would be like, I don't know how else to be.
Yeah, yeah, and I think like that's, I don't know, it's refreshing, and there's not a lot of guys in the show that have that. He's arguably the first character.
Yeah.
Maybe besides Steve, but Steve, sometimes it's played for like, I don't know. He's like a little weird or something.
Yeah, it's kind of play with Steve. It's almost, they play up his neuroses a little bit, and they play on the confidence factor with Harry. Even the fact when he was like, I'm Jewish, what are we going to do? Like, I think that is a straight play where he's just like, I'm really showing all my cards here, but I really like you.
Right.
But how's this going to work, you know? Which I think
Why do you bring that up though, right there? Why do you bring it up right there?
I think you
knowing-
bring it up as a season 5 cliffhanger.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
But I agree. It's like they're so far in.
Yeah.
But I do think there is, I think, I don't know, I almost wonder if Katie could speak to this because that's like a guy bringing something to a woman he's dating. But like, I think there's a thing of bringing that out where that's him actually being even more vulnerable, being okay, this is the biggest question in my mind.
Right.
I'm kind of showing all my cards. I really like you. This is a hurdle. What are we going to do?
I get the sense that she already knew he was Jewish.
Yeah.
I at least
It was
my
pretty
personal
clear from the
That
bagel scene
couldn't-
early
that
on.
So
that
his name is,
couldn't be.
yeah, the bagel scene.
Like
what's his last name?
This couldn't be that scene.
Golden
though.
Blatt.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
I think
it's
she
a Jewish last name.
knew, but I think because she's just like, yeah. Like, and I think she already knew he was Jewish, but then this is the first time he's saying, I have to marry a Jewish woman.
Yeah.
No, I think I would appreciate that. Like, he felt the need to put that out there. Again,
but-
he has no other way of being.
I
Doesn't that immediately cancel the relationship? Like,
Well, I
unless
guess-
they're just going to fool around until, you know.
I think that's his question. He's like, does this cancel the relationship? What are we going
okay.
to
But
do?
then
I
they
think-
just decided
Well,
to dance.
it seemed to me like he was putting that out there. Like, we can't get married because I'm Jewish. Like, it wasn't like, do you want to join the church? And you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, I don't know. It seemed weird to me.
I agree with you. I do think it was him. The first layer was like, I'd be a Jewish girl. I can't do this. Like that may have been, but then the subtext of that, I think, was like, I think I have feelings for this person. What do I do? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it was like, I'm out. It was like, he's over invested, more invested than less invested of being like, I care about this person.
Yeah, I think it's like a vulnerable thing of being like, it would be like if, okay, let's say we started this podcast and one of us was just like, I'm only in town for the summer. And then a couple episodes in, you're like, guys, we have a really good thing going here, but I gotta go back to my hometown. It's like being like, I want to make this work, but here's the roadblock. How are we going to make it work?
Right.
You know, I think that's what kind of what he's
And I
getting
moved
at.
here. I gave up my flat in Missouri.
Yeah.
I have a question for
Because everyone in Missouri calls their apartments flats.
Yeah. I have a nice loft.
I got a nice flat by the arch in St. Louis.
right above a really good barbecue sauce.
Is there any? I guess that's for Harry. It's a line in the sand. Like I won't be with you unless you are Jewish, or I can't be with anyone unless they are Jewish. Do you have any non-negotiables like that for a relationship?
It's funny that I'm living this plot line because I was single for a lot of years, many years. When we started this, I think I was probably single. And I had dated for a long time, but then I'd sort of shut it off because I didn't like my headspace and I didn't like, for whatever, I don't know, whatever it is. I'm not trying to turn this into a couch session, but
No, that's what this is.
yeah, well,
This is a couch
It is
session.
a couch session.
We're on the couch.
No, but I guess the point is like there came a point in that I think you're looking for perfection, and you have something that you have there that is like, oh, this worked once for me at least. This worked once, and I loved it, and this was great. That didn't work out ultimately, but then you're always trying to like compare them and put them up together and be like, this is what I want. And sort of your question, which is like, where are my boundaries and what are the things that I say? And then I started dating Marla, lovely Marla, who's in the other room doing who knows what. She Jewish, so it's the first Jewish person I've ever dated in my life. So it was a little bit of an adjustment. Not really. There was no adjustment. What the fuck am I saying?
It's just a different thing for you.
But it's exactly.
It's the storyline. Yeah,
it's a family thing, and there's a whole lot to it that I don't know. I've never had those, John. I've never had like a a lot of the main ones are like, oh, she doesn't want to have a baby or she does want to have a baby.
Right.
Like, those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even those, I don't think I have one like. This is my rule. You have
But now you're Jeremy Goldenblatt.
yeah, that's true. I don't think that's how it works. But I have learned enough about Judaism to tell you that's not how
through
it
the
works.
mother's side.
Yeah.
But
I don't have any deal breakers until they're there. Like I don't know what they would be beforehand. I feel similar to Harry in that we're both bald. No, in that we both. I feel like whatever that hurdle would be or deal breaker would be, I would, if I was really really into it, I would bring it up early and just be like, "Here's the deal." But
you have to love Star Trek. You have to love it.
You have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to love it.
I didn't like smokers for a long time, so that was just off.
Yeah.
But then for a long time, I did like gals that smoked, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's sexy as hell.
Yeah.
And then
True.
It turns into a
I think I related to the Zaza Zoo thing, even though I will say, I don't know how you felt about it as a big fan, Katie. I thought it was kind of, every time they said it, I was like, it was a little too much. I feel like they could have chosen a different word.
It's a little
so many
cheesy.
cheesy things.
It's a little cheesy.
It's a little
But then
cheesy.
I bet there probably are some people that it's their favorite part. So I don't want to.
You don't want to yuck anyone's yum.
But then I think at the end it becomes kind of real.
Yeah.
Because I think they're kind of all saying it, and even like at the wedding, they're all
They committed
kind
to
of
it for sure.
being a little. They're kind of being jerks and like talk. Like they really at this wedding shouldn't be saying all that stuff under their breath. Like I understand from a plot point they have to, but then all of a sudden they all, I think, kind of feel like maybe they have egg on their face, and here's this couple that are getting married. Like, I mean, that scene is great where all of them, I mean, they all look just the most beautiful and like dewy skinned. And it just pans to all their faces where they're watching this wedding happen that they were all making fun of and kind of being like Zaza Zoo, like kind of this cheesy thing. But then all of a sudden they were all like, oh, I mean, like even Samantha looked so moved by it.
Yeah.
And I think they all realized like it is a real thing and these people found love, whatever that looks like.
Which boyfriend was that? Dewy skin? I don't know. Which season is he?
I think a really brutal part in the episode, and I'd love to talk about it, is when she is sitting outside with Stanford, and she goes up to him and she's like, "You have everything. You have the house.
Oh my
You have
gosh.
the yard. You have a perfect relationship." And he's like, "We haven't had sex in a long time
Since they got the
Since they
Cynthia
got the
Rowley.
yeah." And her response is, "Oh, good."
Yeah, I don't like
it's-
that.
It's there's something about it where like I'm not sympathize with her. I understand where I don't understand her. I don't agree with her perspective when she said that. I get that they're saying the like, oh, good, because it's her being like, oh, good, there's no perfection out there. I thought I was the only one, but I think that is a particularly brutal thing, and I would never hope that for someone.
Right.
Well,
I would be like,
no.
it'd be like if you guys were like, I mean, you were like, oh, you should be there where we try to plan a thing or whatever, but you're not like, oh, it's all a charade. Like I would be like, oh, I don't want that for my friends.
Yeah, I think that's like an interesting response.
Totally.
And I like from a writing perspective, like I think they have, like she can't stop and be like, do you want to talk about that? But that's like I don't love that trope.
To me,
It was
that
just
feels
too
like
cynical.
it
It was
feels
too
like-
Miranda. Like
and it also, and it feels like a gross Carrie thing a little bit where we talk about so the Carrie is the worst things. Like that feels like one where she's like, not even her being like, oh, Stanford, but just being like, oh, good. Woof, glad to know that's true. I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Like,
come
and
on.
It would maybe work if it wasn't about something as important as sex. Like if it was just like, we never go on dates anymore or
You
something.
know what was kind of a bummer about it too is that I feel like they chose the wrong thing, unless I don't know if something happens with
Stanny.
Stanford, but it felt like the wrong thing because I feel like the interesting thing about his relationship is like this guy's really hot. Stanford is like a bit of a dork. Like that's like his, or like, I don't know, has insecurities. Like when he went on that date and the person was like, "You're bald, I'm not going out." Like he has these insecurities. He's with this hot guy. It almost it almost ruins that illusion to be like, this hot guy won't have sex
Right,
then.
this can work. Yeah.
And it's like, if it were any other relationship, if that wasn't what they were basing like the interesting storyline on, is like, oh my gosh, Stanford has the hottest boyfriend, it wouldn't be so sad. But then I'm like, oh, that's kind of what you expect.
But weren't they just like having oral sex like 2 episodes ago?
I don't know. Oh yeah,
when we
Carrie
were-
walked in on them.
They must have just gotten the China.
Yeah, and the time.
Yeah.
Also,
been
the
2 weeks.
timeline. The timeline is the timeline always week to week. Do we have some like
No.
No,
gaps in
I
time?
We don't know.
It
But we
just,
do know we can grate cheese on his abs.
Yeah.
Marcus's abs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's talk. We've done Carrie and
is there anything else
Berger.
to say with Carrie and Berger?
I want to talk about Steve and Miranda
Yeah.
and then Samantha real quick.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the gray zone between Steve and Miranda?
It feels like an inevitability. Like it feels like a thing where you're like okay. There was never a hard line like, okay, hey, we are not going to do this, and there was never a okay, we're both married to other people. There wasn't like I think sometimes when you're in a gray area with a relationship with someone, you either have to come to a closure where you're like, this is not happening anymore, or it's like we have a physical place, or we have a physical thing in place where it's like we're both married, we're both in marital relationships, but they're
Right.
kind of co-raising this kid, and there's no hard line thing. So it's like, and obviously we know what happened, even though we haven't seen it, we know what happens. But I'm like, that was kind of bound to happen at some point
Right.
because you're brought into so much intimacy when you're raising a child together.
That's what I thought was interesting about it, that it wasn't like end of a, like she comes home like after being with the girls and is a little drunk and he's like, all right, I'm going to head home. I was watching the kids so you could go out. And then they're like, huh. It was just like a beautiful, like he got flowers. He's being a good dad. She's just like,
She
oh my
kept her
gosh,
shoes
oh.
on.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
John
all
was
the New
not into the
Yorkers were
fact-
like, oh,
No, listen,
shoes
if you're
on
walking
bed?
around New York all day, just take your shoes off.
Yeah.
The subway's disgusting.
certainly don't put it on your bed.
God damn it, Corey.
Sorry, I have mine
Come
on
on,
currently
Corey.
as we're recording.
Jesus.
I'm going to take them off.
No, at this point, you might as well leave them.
At this point, I might as well just put it
I'm
in
a
the sink.
big anti-gray area guy though. I'm a very like this. I know this one is like feels safe because it's like leading towards like, okay, they're soulmates. You know, like they're meant to be together. But I'm not a big gray area person. I
You're
don't.
saying
So you think-
IRL, you're saying you're not a big
In real life, yeah.
relationship. Yes.
With relationships, you mean?
Yeah.
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 I don't know if anyone is a big gray area person. I
Yeah.
think it's gray areas are usually a result of either improper communication or life events that stick you in these gray areas.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think a lot of people probably are in that specific area.
Totally.
You know, like I think that was probably, again, like a plot line that a lot of people could identify with.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
think people are actively like, you know what I want for my relationship? A lot of vague
Uncertainty.
uncertainty
Yeah.
and fog.
But I actively try not to, like, I actively think about that. And I'm like, I don't want a gray area.
Yeah,
So,
but I think that's healthy. That's
I
great.
think that's healthy. I think that's also a point of personality where like Katie and I, like John has said before, that Katie and I think exactly alike.
exactly.
But
the same.
I would venture to say that I'm going to lump Katie and I in as the same person here. But I would
I'm here with it.
say in terms of just opinions on things, me and you are probably very different than Katie. Than you're more the person to walk into a room and be like, here's what I think. And Katie and I feel it could be like, I could see that. I also feel like I think that we probably live in a lot more just gray area. Now I think
that's where I
Yes.
think
in
when you-
relationship stuff, I'm like, whether I feel this way or not, this is how this has to be. And so I don't want a lot of gray area drama.
Sure.
But I think I would probably have more swirling in my head than you would.
yeah, that's where I just think it gives me anxiety to bring another person into that. That's
Yeah,
why the
which
gray area
I'm
thing.
not advocating for that.
Yeah. No. I just think like the second that you're responsible for another person and that gray area type thing, I don't know, just like it just gives me anxiety to imagine.
Well, sure. I mean, I think we'll kind of continue to see that. It's
Yeah.
not, just wait.
And of course, okay, what we can hear all the
Can
mouthing.
you hear,
What is
the
it?
mouthing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
is
know
it?
if you could.
You could.
Well, we just wanted to touch
Did
on
that
one
give you
of
anxiety?
Yeah.
Is that what you? I think you're shutting down of gray area. I
Yeah,
actually
man.
do think that you're shutting down a gray area is
There's
the
just-
thing of it's like a personality thing of being like, this is how I have to handle this in my life. And I
Yeah.
think that's a very Miranda thing where she's like, I'm not going to wade into these waters because I got to shut this down.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that you can control it. Like
You can't control-
you get into a gray area, not because like you're saying, like by probably trying to avoid it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And then someone brings in the fucking lilacs.
Speaking of bringing in the lilacs, we have a very special something going on today.
It's our favorite guy.
It's Steve Talk.
Miranda.
Welcome
a live
to
Steve Talk intro.
Live Steve Talk.
Oh my gosh.
Steve Talk live.
I'm
So-
honored.
We haven't had a Steve Talk in a little while.
Here's
It's been
what
a
I'd love
while.
to experience in this Steve Talk. Steve knew what he was doing with those lilacs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is not his first time.
He made it
The-
seem like it was a dumb like just my
Yeah,
Grammy's
yeah.
flowers or whatever.
And
But
so-
no,
Moss
there's,
Garden,
you know,
Queens.
Yeah.
these flowers.
I would love to experience Steve going shopping for some lilacs and trying to find the magic. He got those ones from his garden.
He said
From
Ma's
his Ma's
garden. His
garden.
mother's
From Ma's
garden in
garden.
Queens.
In Queens.
I would love to see, maybe an interaction between Steve and another flower shop owner, because there's a lot of flower shops in New York. And a guy, trying to push other flowers on Steve, even though his mind is set on lilacs.
Okay, so this is Ma's garden doesn't exist in this
Ma's
one.
garden doesn't
He's got to
exist.
go a different place. Okay.
Kevin, you can be a flower salesman.
Okay.
Okay.
Corey, if you would mind playing the character of Steve,
I'll
who's
do my
really
best.
looking. Jeremy, you can join in as a impatient New Yorker.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy who's wanting to buy carnations.
Yeah. Katie and I will be.
Oh, no.
I mean dandelions. Sorry, dandelions.
We'll be taxi horns
It's
in the
interesting
background.
that you mentioned carnation.
Oh why?
Oh, goodness.
Keep watching.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
goodness.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Ring. Welcome to Giuseppe's flower shop.
Yeah, well, it's I was just here down on Grand Street, and I figure I'm in Little Italy, but I got a really important thing to run. Thanks for being an Italian flower shop owner and not doing like a meat store or something like that most people do down here.
No, but we do have complimentary cannolis.
Oh, I love a cannoli. Yeah, he's
Honk,
old Steve.
honk, honk.
So many taxi horns. The city's crazy. Listen, I'm looking for some lilacs. I need a lilac.
No, is this to seduce woman?
This is you sound like an actor in a movie that's gonna come out in a couple years named Borat.
Sorry. Yeah, to be honest, I had an audition. I was just doing a character. Yeah, my name's Brian.
Nice to meet you. Hey, listen, you gotta be where you are. You're in Little Italy.
Hey, who runs this shop here?
I'm Brian, but I'm playing. I want to play this guy named Giuseppe.
Giuseppe, Brian, looking for dandelions.
We
I'm
don't
sorry,
have
I was in line and I need to get some lilacs.
Okay.
Honk, honk.
There's so many taxis. Hell. Oh, that cat sounds like a siren.
I can give you
listen.
complimentary dandelions.
Oh, you have dandelions.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta get me some lilacs, okay?
Is this to seduce a woman? Because I recommend orchids because they look like vaginas.
Okay, I know what you're saying. Oh my God, give me some lilacs. I sound like my mom.
Hey, if you sniff a lilac, doesn't it makes you tired, doesn't it? Is that true?
Because then she'll want to, I think it'll just get us in the mood. There's a sleeping baby gonna be there, and could I just get some lilacs, please?
Yeah.
I need dandelions.
Here's a bouquet
This guy with
of
the dandelions.
lilacs.
Thank
all right?
you.
Here's a bouquet of dandelions, and I want you both to go to the same woman. You both with the dandelions
Honk, honk, honk.
and the lilacs.
Okay, I'm
and
getting
see
this.
who she chooses.
I'm getting this taxi. Do you want to get in there? And then, sure, I can throw this in here.
It seems like against everything I should have been taught as a child. Let's do it.
All right, let's get. All right, hey, we're going to Miranda's apartment. You know where that is. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
It's
favorite time.
It's our favorite guy.
Favorite
Wow.
It's a favorite
guy.
I was waiting for
It's Steve Talk,
Miranda.
Hey,
All
where
right.
did we get the instrumental version?
We run a music studio on the sides.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, totally.
I guess the last thing we have to cover is just real quick Samantha and then do the Cosmo rating.
Samantha,
She had a
speaking of gray
weird-
areas,
yeah.
Samantha opened up her own gray area. She basically took custody of
did.
Richard's house for the weekend.
And then found herself kind of hurt.
Yeah, because he's got some other gals there.
I
He's
can't believe
got-
she asked if
But
he was
she had to
sleeping
have
with those
known.
girls.
Like, come on.
Will we ever know that connection? Like how they are connected? Obviously, they're trying to make it seem like they fucked or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever it is,
yeah.
But like,
I don't know if we'll
No.
see those
I don't
ladies
think
again.
those girls
That's
are coming
dead.
back.
I would
They're
listen.
gone.
I don't want to throw stones in
A glass house.
A glass house. No, we normally do not have any negative opinions on most of the things, and even if we do, we're polite about it. But those were the worst actresses of all time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They were so bad.
I think that's a producer hire right there. I think that's an exec, like, spend it on
I
set.
mean, you guys, listen, I can be the villain and you can rip on me for bringing it up. They were bad.
They were like responding to lines a little like before they were done.
I haven't.
It was some interesting.
I've never seen. I haven't seen bad acting on that level on a show like this or any other show in a long time.
I wonder if, and I feel okay saying this because it was a prominent scene, I wonder if they were cast more for their other features than their acting, because
That's
there
fair.
was a double D write-in in the script and then there was a double D viewing in the show. I feel like they were maybe cast more for their visual than just for their line delivery.
that was.
I think that's what the scene
There's
called
also
for.
a Silicon Valley reference with,
Silicon
with
Valley.
Harry giving,
Quite
giving a cheers.
clear.
Silicone. Yeah, so I think maybe that was the casting.
Yeah.
And they nailed that part. I mean,
It was just. It's like
they were-
alarming watching.
They had double Ds.
It's wild
that was
watching
what they cast
a
for.
good actress work with two bad actresses that are clearly
Yes.
there for, like, we obviously get it, but it's like, because that
is, I mean, pretty much everyone on the show is such a good actor.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Great.
even in the
Yeah.
small little bit parts, like they normally are getting really good
Yeah.
actors.
yeah,
Mhm.
and
So
that
it does
was,
stand out.
yeah, it definitely stood out. I guess we've covered this ground with Samantha before, this story, but I guess it is interesting that this guy, she had the negative Zazazu with, that is like this person that has a hold of you when you're like, fuck, I want to be done with this.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go throw a party at his place. And it's this other version of this attraction that she's like, oh, I can't let this guy not get in my head, even though she doesn't want him anymore. So I like for her to throw the melon through the glass
cantaloupe.
was super embarrassing. And
I believe cantaloupes are melons, too, Corey.
Okay.
honey, do.
Melon police.
Listen, I
Shrimp
just,
chip. The melon police over there.
I'm kind of
Excuse me.
Honk, honk.
So,
kind of big on just fruits. Okay, just like knowing what fruits are what.
but I don't know. Is there anything else to say besides it's the same old thing?
Yeah.
Of like him.
I think it was, yeah.
I think one negative thing with the episode, which was like season finale out in the Hamptons, not in the city, was a kind of a bummer. But they're probably like, how could we get them out to the Hamptons? This makes sense. And it kind of brings this season to a close.
My problem was, okay, if you're getting married the next day, like you're definitely not at someone's random Hamptons party.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very
And very
not
involved.
unrealistic. Right,
And very
right.
involved, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Berger got invited to the wedding at the thing.
Randomly, I mean, I guess that part seems kind of Hamptonsy. That it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I was at another thing yesterday, and he was like, come to
Come
the
to the
wedding.
wedding,
It's
yeah.
a party.
Yeah.
Seems also weird that they stopped at a dairy. What was it called? Cream freeze?
Creamy freeze.
Yeah, that's
Which we
definitely-
looked that up.
In Jersey.
That's in Jersey.
Right,
That's
that's not
actually
how you get to the
that's in
Hamptons.
Asbury Park.
Out
That's
to
so
the
funny.
Hamptons.
Well, sometimes you go out of the way.
Sometimes you go.
New
"Oh."
Jersey.
All right, let's do a Cosmo rating. Let's do there's a lot of us here. There's 5 of us. That's how many Cosmos you can give it. 1 to 5. End of season 5. Finale. What do we think? All at the same time?
Yeah, I have mine.
Whoa. You ready? Everybody ready?
I am ready.
1, 2, 3.
3.75.
I did
I
3.
said
Three.
3.5.
I said 3.75.
You wanna defend first since we gave it the lowest?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like a great episode, but again, like maybe it's a unfair critique because I do know what's coming up, but also I can critique it comparatively to the other episodes. It's a good episode. It's not my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just better. Again, it's like setting us up for a lot more
It's laying some groundwork.
wonderful things to come.
Yeah, I feel like whenever these episodes are like where the main story is about someone else, because really the main story in this episode was Nathan Lane's character and them on the outside looking in at that relationship, it always feels a little bit disjointed and like not as cohesive as they normally are. And so it just felt a little weird. Maybe it's also because they were in the Hamptons, but I think other than like Harry there wasn't a ton of like new exciting stuff for me. So I gave it a 3. It wasn't my favorite. I still liked it more than a normal episode.
I gave it a 3.75, and I think part of the reason is that we've said so many times when they leave New York, it's not good. And I feel like this was the best Leaving New York episode. I think it was better than the previous two Hamptons episodes, because the other Hamptons one was the end of one of the seasons, and then one was the going out for the good muffins, like in the first season. I think this was the best out of New York, and definitely the best Hamptons episode. I think the stuff with Harry is a great setup, and I think like the addition of that character is great. And I think, I don't know, there's been a couple other episodes like the Atlantic City ones that we didn't like that just seemed like kind of a mess. Things weren't completely strong, but I feel like for a season ending, I feel like this was one of the better episodes of season 5. And I think when Jen Kirkman told us like season 5, it's like just getting good in some ways. I think this one actually tied up a lot of stuff. It left a couple weird things out there with Berger, which were uncomfortable, but I think that also sets us up for maybe what's going to happen with him.
I agree.
And I don't know. I felt like there was some pretty solid development, even for a season that was kind of weird in some ways. So I thought it was a solid 3.75 for me.
Well, I gave it 3.5. I do think it was one of the stronger non-New York episodes.
Yeah.
I thought that the theme and subject matter was surprisingly refreshing. It started off as like, is this gay guy? Like they're getting like, I feel like I've had that conversation with people. I've heard it with lots of different people of being like, these people are together. Like whether it's gay, straight, or just like people that don't get along or something that you're like, warning. And then some people make it through and some don't. And I thought that the way that it ended, especially with Nathan Lane's little, if you had money on it, you know, I thought it was a twist on your expectations in a way that was way smarter than I thought in the beginning. It seemed like one of those, this doesn't age as good as you'd think. And at the end I was like, that actually is way more true to, I think, some modern relationships than I thought it would be in the beginning.
Right. Well, I love how they even brought back like the glass houses, house reference again.
Yeah.
That you really just don't really ever know what's going on in a relationship. And don't you think that's so prevalent, especially with social media?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, the more positive, lovey posts, typically it means there's trouble. I don't know.
And I would say that just in general, the thought, it's like a little bit of a bummer because we like all the characters, but for it to switch on you at the end and be like, man, they just basically talked shit on this couple their entire wedding and then kind of got smacked in the face by being like, oh man, maybe we are thinking. So I really enjoyed
I feel
that.
like that's Sex in the City in a nutshell, though.
Yeah.
Kind of where it's like, But anyway.
So I was pleasantly surprised by the arc of the episode, and I mean, pretty epic cameo too with Nathan Lane. I mean, he's one of the greats. So
I'm sticking with you, 3.5. I haven't seen a lot recently, but I feel like for a season finale, it was a little. You could tell that they're closing doors, opening doors, and working on the plot for the next season or whatever. It felt like quite a bit, so it was kind of a turnoff. But there's so many good things. There's so many good things in the episode. So not a 4, not a 3, 3.5.
There you go.
Love it.
Yeah.
thank you. Go on iTunes right now if you have use Apple. Give us 5-star rating and write the funniest review that's going to make us giggle, and we're going to read it on here. And guess what we have next week?
Oh my goodness. Just stay tuned for such an amazing episode. We have our interview with Kristen Davis coming next week.
And then we start season 6.
Yep.
Wow.
So go on iTunes, follow us on Spotify, check out our Patreon, and stay tuned for next week's episode before we get into season 6.
And it'll be probably a little while until we do another family one. So
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you guys, all of you, everyone involved.
Thank
and
you.
Thank
you guys
you.
are killing it as usual, as I tell you all the time. But yeah, I think you.
Well,
do
thank
great,
you, Jeremy.
great
We
work.
wouldn't be able to do any of this without you.
would not
So
be able to do this
thank you
without
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
And Katie.
Thank
Oh,
you,
yes.
Katie, for being our voice.
Oh,
And
well,
guys,
thanks.
this
Can
is like the Olive Garden. When we're here, we're family.
That's right.
You know?
I'm feeling it.
Speaking of, open the door. It's here. Olive Garden for everybody.
Thank you, Giuseppe.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, John Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys. And if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.